Namaskar, everyone. Very good evening. I'm very happy to have all of you here uh, in this session on Bhagavad Gita. This is the fourth session, Bhagavad Gita, with the theme, the journey towards self-discovery. Okay, I begin the session by paying obeisances to my Guru, Sri Sri Ananda, so whose inspiration behind this sharing. So basically, as I mentioned in the previous lessons, the very purpose of this study is for the participants to understand about some fundamental principles of Sanathana Dharma. And Sanathana Dharma is about you understanding about the journey of the soul or living being, okay, in its journey to return to its own source. And this very urge to return to Brahma or the cosmic consciousness is inherent in every living being. At the same time, this living being also, every living being has what is called Purushartha or natural endeavor to fulfill four longings. Now, these are known as Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, or physical longing or physical desires, psycho-spiritual, is psychic, and psycho-spiritual. And lastly, the spiritual. And you may, for those who are new to this session, you may, you can listen to the previous videos, which was uploaded in YouTube. Okay. So again, I would also like to emphasize the importance of the guidance of Guru. Okay, and again, the basic principle is in Sanatana Dharma is the Guru is actually a manifestation of that supreme consciousness itself, and he appears through various elevated beings to guide humanity from time to time. Okay, according to your era, according to your locality, and so on. Okay, and this manifestation varies according to the level of elevation of the personality involved. Okay, so take away from last week. During last week's session, I shared about Dharmakshetra and Kurukshetra from the first sloka. Okay, we have discussed elaborately about what is from the perspective of the historical event, what is Dharmakshetra and Kurukshetra, and metaphorically, or the subtle meaning of Dharmakshetra. So Dharmakshetra is our own body through which we would be able to do or to perform Dharma. Okay? Dharma means to realize the divinity within ourselves. And Kurukshetra is none other than the world around us. Okay, the world around us, which comprises everything, maybe your family environment, your work environment, and so on. So we have to keep this in mind throughout the session, throughout the 18 weeks as well. Next, before going to the second sloka onwards, okay, last week we covered the first sloka of Bhagavad Gita. As I mentioned earlier, the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita is to study your own self. Okay, basically, I think in the second class, I have shared about a few schools of thought, school of thought from the perspective of philosophy. Okay, and the basic discussion will be ontological, metaphysics, and epistemology. Okay, ontology means how Sanatana Dharma categorizes being. Okay, who's the supreme being or God, and what is the nature of the living being or Jiva, and what is this world is all about, and the connection between the three. So all philosophical discussion will revolve around these three. So this is ontology, and there are many schools, which emerged due to the influence of various teachers. And these schools will cite various sources of knowledge, of valid knowledge to understand the truth. And generally, scripture is indicated as one source of knowledge, but scripture is a secondary knowledge. And they also agree that direct perception of truth by a person is the ultimate source of knowledge. So the scripture or the authority through others is known as paroksha anubhuti. That means it is not your experience, but somebody else's experience shared to you directly by a teacher or through a book, like a scripture, like Upanishads, Tantras, Bhagavad Giita, and so on. And aparoksha anubhuti, okay, the direct perception of truth is technically called, in Sanskrit, called aparoksha anubhuti. That's where you yourself realize it by your own realization. So that is the background. So this, although despite the existence of various schools of thought, there's a general consensus among the various philosophers. That is, this world is basically pervaded by the Supreme Being himself. Means this very creation is just the manifestation of his mind. Okay, whether the universe, the planets, and so on, and the living being, all these are basically emerged from the Supreme Being himself. In fact, there was one shloka from one particular Upanishad. It sounds like this: Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyati. Okay, so in this particular shloka from the Upanishad says that Om Purnamada means the Supreme Being, the cosmic consciousness or the universal consciousness or Brahma is complete by itself. That is the meaning of the word Purnam. Purna means complete. Om Purnamada. So that Brahma is complete, is whole. Purnamidam, then Purnamidam means referring to the manifested universe in which we live in. Okay, in this manifested universe, you see everything: planets, stars, okay, living being. Okay, so we can particularly, if you see the earth, everything in this earth is the manifestation of that Brahma only. Okay, so Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Avashishyate means despite the transformation of a part of the consciousness of Brahma into this world, the Supreme Being remains complete. Okay, so this is one thing that we need to understand. And as a living being, okay, who's interested to understand what is Dharma, who's interested in the journey of enlightenment, the study or the analysis begins by analyzing your own self. Okay, that is the important principle that I would like to instill, okay, among the participants. Okay, the spirit of Sanatana Dharma is, okay, you want to study Brahma directly, the Supreme Being, okay, you don't have the means in the beginning, but you can study your own self. Okay, so and all this knowledge which we have in the form of scriptures is basically the collection of the experiences and the finding of all the great beings in the past. We call them rishis, munis, great gurus. So whatever they discovered, so we have in the form of scriptures, in the form of shastras. But you cannot depend on shastras to be enlightened. Shastra will point you the way. Okay, some teachers even will say, do not follow the shastras, do not follow the what do you call all these scriptures, because that will that will actually stop you from being enlightened. So this is another school of thought, as a group of some new age teachers used to say this. Okay, but it's always better to have some basis, okay, to do our study and research. So now we shall see about the nature of jiva. Okay. Based on our analysis, from the previous sessions and all that, so I pointed out a few things. Today again, I'll give some snapshots, some glimpse of this what do you call the composition of jivas, or the constitution of jiva. Here, I would not go very deep into this because it's a deep subject, but it is enough for us to get some basic understanding, because the second part of the presentation today, we are going to see the whole chapter, okay, but not sloka by sloka, but the summary. And those slokas are basically an analysis on the state of jiva. So before we go there, we need to know the fundamental composition of jiva. So jiva, okay, here I will see, we will observe human being, we'll take human being as an example. So every jiva is basically an individual, okay? And this one we understand, that every human being, okay, we are an individual. And the moment you know this, okay, you have your own boundaries, okay? So you have your body, okay? And apart from the body, you have a mind, okay? So you're a human being, we are a thinking being, okay? We are a rational being. We know that we think, okay? So there's a mind, and the mind itself has three components: conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. And apart from this, you have an ego. Okay, this ego emerges from your basic I consciousness. So what is this I consciousness? Suppose you go to sleep. So when you go to sleep, actually the mind, the conscious mind is actually is the part of your awareness that sleeps. Despite that, you will have what you call dreams. You have dreams. Dreams are basically the projection of your own subconscious mind. Whatever you see in the daytime, or the previous day, or the previous week, certain memory linger within the subconscious, and this will come as a dream at night. And this is basically a mechanism to flush out your thoughts, unwanted thoughts. Okay, so that means subconscious mind is awake, but there is a state where the subconscious mind also will sleep. Then after the subconscious mind sleep, then only you go to a deep sleep. Okay, and when you wake up, okay, first thing that you will be aware of is your own I consciousness. Okay, normally you may not be aware of this when you sleep at night and wake up in the morning. Usually you will be rushing to work and so on. Usually you will be aware of this if you happen to sleep during daytime. Okay, suppose it's off day, you sleep, you wake up, you will be rather disoriented for a couple of minutes. Okay, you might be thinking, why I'm here, am I late for work? And slowly you will understand that it's an off day and you are taking your afternoon nap. So that slow emergence of your consciousness is your I consciousness. Okay, and this I consciousness also pervades your body. Okay, and this I consciousness also manifests as ego. Okay, and all this make up yourself as an individual. Okay, but deeper than this, you have what you call a soul. Okay, and in Sanskrit this is known as Atman. Okay, the word Atman in Sanskrit means that which holds everything together. Okay, this is the source of consciousness. Okay, a beginner will not understand this. Okay, a yogic practitioner, those who meditate, those who reach a certain level of elevation, can actually touch the state of Atman. But a beginner should know and understand how the body, the mechanism of the body, the mechanism of the conscious mind, and the mechanism of subconscious mind. this you can be easily, you can be aware of this easily. You are always aware of this. It's just you never analyze it. Okay, next. So this is just a basic illustration about how a jiva is in its journey. It took many forms. And according to the Shastras in Sanathana Dharma, there are 8.4 million wombs. Means you can take 8.4 million life forms. And the highest manifestation of this is the human form. Okay. And why this is required? So this is basically the process of you evolving. Okay. Philosophically they said that every living being has an exact imprint, okay, from the creator. Okay, so your deepest soul consciousness came from the supreme being. So it will somehow try to manifest itself, okay, so that the journey towards enlightenment will be facilitated. Okay, but what actually is happening in our life? Okay, so this is a couplet from one of the tantric scripture. Okay, it says, Pasha Baddha Bhavet Jiva, Pasha Mukta Bhavet Shiva. Means Jiva, or a living being, is afflicted by fetters, while Shiva, or the Atman or consciousness, is free from fetters. So fetters is a form of bondage. Okay, you'll see in the next slide. That means, as an individual, we have many expressions. Okay, and these expressions, according to Yoga Sastra, 50 in number. Okay, and this 50 corresponds to 50 glands in human body. Okay, this expression is also known as propensities, or called vritti in Sanskrit. So one of it is hatred, fear, doubt, shyness, shy complex, dissemblance, pride of lineage, vanity of culture, okay, and ego. And these 8 are known as fetters, or pasha in Sanskrit. And we also have what you call 6 enemies. Okay, kama, or attraction for physicality or physical desires, krodha, or anger, greed or lobha, moha, or infatuation, mada, or pride, and macharya, or envy or jealousy. Okay, although the Shastras, Yoga Shastras say there are 50, these 14 expressions or propensities are the most dominant one, and this cause bondage to jiva. Okay, this one we can think over about it. It is for us to think. Okay, to understand this, you have to think about it. That these bondages, whether all of us are aware that we have anger, we have greed, we have infatuation, we have pride. Okay, also the fear, doubt, okay, pride of culture, pride of lineage, and so on. These are basics, expression of a living being in the human form. And this will be there naturally in you. Nobody has to teach you. But if you want to elevate yourself, elevate your consciousness beyond jiva, beyond an ordinary jiva, you have to control this expression. Okay? As long as this expression control you, you cannot attain the state, the natural state of Atma Bhava. Okay? Atma Bhava is a soul consciousness. A person who pursues the journey towards enlightenment, okay, wanted to attain the state which is known as Atma Bhava. Okay? To explain in another way, based on this 14 expression, what we can see is an individual are essentially selfish. Okay, and by controlling this expression, you will become more selfless. Okay, and when you become more selfless, you will become more inclusive. Okay, you begin to see other people. You will develop empathy. You will develop compassion. Okay, and these expressions, these various expressions, the 14 expression and others as well, will be there strongly in a living being which were living beings which were newly promoted into human form. Okay, in a more evolved living being, so this expression will be weaker because they are more inclusive. Okay, so this is the basically the first part. So basically, we want to explain to you that a jiva is in this state of bondage. Okay, so even some scriptures will declare, okay, the jiva is Shiva. Okay, that you even in the Bhagavad Giita itself it says that you are the Atman. You know, in the second chapter, Krishna will repeatedly tell Arjuna, you are none. Actually, you are the Atman. But the realization of the state of Atman will not come if you don't work for it. Okay. Right. So now we will see the summary of the what do you call second to 19th sloka. Okay, in the first chapter, you will see 4 characters. The character of Dhritarashtra, or the blind king, which we discussed last week. The character of his minister, or Sanjaya. And from 2nd to 19th sloka, we will see the character of Duryodhana, the elders of Kauravas. And from 28th until the 47th sloka, you will see the character of Arjuna. Okay. So these 4 characters you will see in the first chapter. Okay, so now the summary of the 2nd till the 19th. So Duryodhana will begin by addressing his preceptor, Dronacharya. Dronacharya is their teacher, the Acharya who taught them Dharma Shastras as well as Astra Shastras, you know, the science of warfare and everything, every aspect. Those days, they sent the children to Gurukula, and from the age of 5 to age of 25. And in the Gurukula, they will learn all the 4 aspects of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Okay? It's a compulsory training those days. And today in our school, we don't have Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. We only have what do you call teachings about Kama and Artha only. Okay. So now looking at Dronacharya, Duryodhana will address Dronacharya and explain to him about the formation and the strength of the army of Kauravas. Okay, and he also will name a few characters like Bhishma, the grandsire, some other important warriors like Aswathama, Vikarna, and so on. So he will say that, and he also will give some account about, in Pandava side, they have warriors like Arjuna, skillful warrior like Arjuna, Bhima, Dhristadyumna, and others. Okay. So, and he will tell, will continue telling Dronacharya that actually our army is actually stronger than the Pandavas. Okay. But now the question is why Duryodhana is telling this to Dronacharya, and why the author of Gita wanted to include this portion in the scripture. Okay, this is basically okay, as a character. You see, Duryodhana is a materialistic person, and although he has the belief that his army is stronger than the army of Pandavas, still he has the fear. Okay, so somehow the fear will come, and this is natural. And when he talks to Dronacharya about all this army, as though Dronacharya doesn't know about it, is that actually he's doing auto suggestion to himself. You know, like telling himself, "No, we are okay, we will win," and so on. That is the idea. Okay, and the subsequent slokas from 20th, so Arjuna will address Krishna. Okay, so before I go there, in the first class and also the second class, we have mentioned about this, that before the war, both Arjuna and Duryodhana will go and approach Krishna, and Krishna is related to both of them. And Krishna will actually will say that he will actually be fair to both. Okay, so he will give to one person his army, and he will come alone to another person. Okay, so when Arjuna choose Krishna alone, who will be his charioteer, and Duryodhana was very happy due to the decision of Arjuna, because he feels Krishna will be useless, without being alone with him. Okay, he feels that Krishna's army is more valuable. Okay, so here, just now we mentioned about Jiva. So here it actually indicates one type of Jiva, Duryodhana. Even etymologically, the word Duryodhana comes from the word Durjud. Okay, Durjud means difficult to overcome. Okay, someone with a stubborn character. Okay, he's a stubborn materialist. Okay, and he believes in material strength. He believes in material opulence, money, that kind of character. And Arjuna represents the other type of character who believes in dharma. Okay, so Duryodhana, despite his belief in his strength, in his physical strength, the army strength, yet he still has the fear. Okay, that's the first point. Now we shall go to Arjuna, and in the 20th sloka. So before the 20th sloka, they will start the battle cry. If you read the slokas, they will start to blow the conch shell. So after the battle cry, suddenly Arjuna will ask Lord Krishna to bring the chariot in between the two armies. Okay, and you'll observe the army from both sides. Okay? You'll observe his elders Bhishma, his teacher Drona. Okay, just to remind all of you, both Pandavas and Kauravas, they were cousins. They grew up together in the kingdom of Hastinapur. So basically, when they are in the war, they're facing the people which they knew. Okay, so teacher, they have common teachers. So Dronacharya and Krishna, Arjuna was a favorite student of Dronacharya. Okay, so when he see all of his elders, suddenly he feel a bit dejected. Okay, and he began to tell Krishna that killing his kinsmen, and the elders that he revered to regain the kingdom is an abominable act, and he don't foresee any good from it. And he rather be slain by the enemies instead of killing them. Okay, so this is basically an illustration of what happened at that time. So just an illustration, just an idea. Okay, next. So you'll see. So he begin his complaint. So you will say, I don't know what is better, whether it's conquering them or being conquered. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to leave, and so on. And he said that he's confused about his duty, and I've lost all composure, and he began to ask, tell Krishna, now I am your disciple and soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Okay. So the discussion will continue in this spirit until the 9th sloka in 2nd chapter. Okay. So finally he will say, so Sanjaya will report this. Having spoken thus, Arjuna said, Govinda, addressing Krishna as Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Okay. So that is basically Arjuna's expression, okay, from the 20th sloka. So now, interestingly, if you know that every chapter in Bhagavad Gita will be known by a name. Okay, it is called by it is suffix with the title Yoga. So the first chapter is known as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Okay, Vishada means despondency or melancholic tendency, melancholy. Okay. So Arjuna's state is a state of a melancholy, a warrior who was prepared for war and suddenly became melancholic and despondent. Okay. So why this happens? Okay. So when we study about this concept earlier about what is Kurukshetra and what is Dharmakshetra, we saw that Kurukshetra is the internal war in every living being and also external war. Okay. So whatever we express in the outside world is an expression of what happens inside us. So Arjuna's expression is basically because of his attachment towards his own relatives and his elders. Okay. So even though the war has a greater scope, it is not just about the conflict between Pandavas and Kauravas. As I mentioned earlier, Mahabharata is Krishna's campaign to establish Dharma Rajya, okay, to re-establish a kingdom of Dharma, where every citizen will have the scope, okay, to fulfill their Purushartha, okay, which is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, okay. Whereas this the Kauravas, they don't have this their behavior. You can see from their behavior. So they express a lot of antisocial behavior. If you go back to the Astapasha and Shatripu, which I briefly shared earlier, so you can see that Kauravas, they have all these propensities manifested in them very strongly. Anger, jealousy, greediness, and everything. Because why did they seize the kingdom of Pandavas? Because of greed. Okay, because of jealousy, because the Pandavas kingdom, became more prosperous than Hastinapur. All those things happened, and they couldn't just take it. And they are always jealous of Pandavas because of they are more superior in intelligence and so on. Okay, and I'm not saying that Pandavas don't have Astapasya and Shatripu. They also have. Okay, if you study the text of Mahabharata, they also have all these weaknesses. Even the elders of Pandava, the Yudhishthira, he also have some weaknesses. Okay, but they have all these weaknesses in control manner. Okay, that is the difference. So now, looking at Vishada, which is the Arjuna state, Arjuna in the state of despondency, in the state of melancholy. Okay, and Arjuna represents any human being in this world, in the past, also in the future. And all of us can go into this state of melancholy when we face our own battle, our own Kurukshetra in our own life. It can happen when you have, you may lose confidence, due to a bereavement, relationship failure, like divorce, maybe a student due to failure in exam, or maybe sudden lack of confidence before the exam. Okay, maybe a businessman fail in the business, something goes wrong in the market, so many things. Okay, so the question here, one key point which I highlighted earlier is fear is the reason why Duryodhana also is a bit shaken a bit and begin to address his own teacher, okay, but actually doing auto suggestion to himself. And Arjuna openly told his guide that, see, I am basically I lost my confidence. I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing. And you have to see that while in exile for 13 years, Arjuna, the rest of the Pandavas, especially Arjuna, they practiced, trained themselves, okay, so diligently preparing for this war. I mean, it's not they know that the war will happen for sure, but the possibility is very high. So Arjuna did that. Yet, at a decisive moment, suddenly he lost his confidence. Okay? So the idea which the author of Gita wanted to highlight here is that this problem of Vishada can happen to anyone. And why Vishada is called yoga here is that yoga means integration. Okay, one important thing in the practice of yoga is self-integration. You have to integrate your body, mind, and soul. in modern human being, this is one lack of integration that we see everywhere. Okay, everyone is thinking that they are just a mere physical body. Okay, so they don't care about understanding the deeper layer of their consciousness. Okay, even the deeper layer of their mind. Okay, as I mentioned, conscious, subconscious. So many people don't even understand what is unconscious, don't even understand the subconscious mind. So, and all this will result in vishada. Okay, a melancholic state, a state of weakness. Okay, the cure for this vishada is atmagyan. Okay, and teachings of dharma. Okay, in teachings of dharma, atmagyan is an essential component. And of course, in the second chapter, beginning from the 10th sloka, Krishna will begin to address this. Okay, but today you will see only up to this point. Okay, that when the jiva is affected by pashas and ripus, it is not connected. I mean, it is always connected, but it failed to understand the connection towards its atma or the soul. And in order to regain strength, the jiva has to look within towards its own atma to regain clarity and confidence. Okay, so here Arjuna, in the story, is turning towards Krishna, who's right beside him. Okay, metaphorically, as an individual, we always have the Atman within us. Okay, and if we receive the training in the yogic practices, we'll always know how to calm down and tune our mind towards the Atman. Even a few deep breathing will calm you down, because that will cause some integration within. Okay. So when a jiva is afflicted by despondency, okay, there's always the need to find a solution. You cannot become suicidal whenever we face this kind of situation. Okay, again we see in this world, a lot of people become suicidal. Okay, because you don't know what to do, because there is no dharmic teaching. Okay, so the summary from this chapter in this class is that every one of us, we need to understand the state of jiva. Okay, so I've given a brief understanding that you have a body, you have a mind, okay, you have the ego, you have the I consciousness, it manifests as your ego. And every jiva is affected or rather afflicted by pashas, okay, internal and external enemies. Okay, and when the pashas, the expression like anger, jealousy, infatuation, what do you call, material desire, and so on, is strong, that will dim the light of Atman. Okay, so Atma is, I mean, your inner, your real consciousness, which is like a light. Okay, and when your expression is more towards your external world, towards promoting your own ego, so the Atmic light will become dim. And by controlling, and controlling is by proper training, pashas and rituals, and turning towards the Atman, we shall regain the strength to face the battle of life of Kurukshetra, means our own Kurukshetra. Okay, that is basically the conclusion of this chapter and this lesson. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Now I shall open for discussion. Okay, if you have any question, please.
Hi, Padma.
Yes.
It's Velu. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Thanks for the wonderful explanation. And I think you have covered a lot of scope with very detailed and beautiful explanation in Sanskrit, in English, trying to make sense of it all for us. So we are very thankful. Okay. I guess, okay, so this is at the end, what you are saying that this chapter talks about is, okay, understanding that it was a few thousand years ago during a war time, which is different to what we are doing today.
Okay.
So today's life for the common person is materialistic more than the spiritual, so we have to I mean, for our children, we gather good schools for them, the best colleges, good car, all those things. That's our day-to-day life as it is.
Yes.
So, and then you spoke about the despondency that comes because we do not get something, we do not achieve something.
Yes.
And then we feel down, then we feel inferior, maybe, that we may not may not be able to give the best for our children, maybe, or even for our own achievement, whatever that is.
Yes, yes.
So the same concept, like thousands of years ago and now, what you are saying is, by understanding that you are actually a minuscule part of the Brahman, which is Atman. So you are the Atman. And you have to look within and realize the truth that you are part of a larger framework, which is the Brahman, which is the all pervasive consciousness or energy, or I'm not sure what is the exact Sanskrit term for that, but so there is a bigger framework. So is it possible? Okay, I can understand that meditating on the Atman and to realize that I am a small part of the big, I can see that. But can I actually see the big? And then if someone sees that, then they feel like I am not alone, that I am part of something much greater. So it's okay if I don't achieve this, because there is a bigger thing, there's a bigger machinery behind all this. So I think the question is, by meditating, can I feel or see Brahman?
So that's the question. Okay, see, of course, it's a very straightforward answer. Yes. Okay. When we have all this, the collection of all this knowledge, okay, as I mentioned earlier, the source of knowledge that we receive in the form of shastras is through their own experience. Okay. So, but now you cannot depend on that. If the Upanishad say, for example, the conclusion of the Atharva Veda is Aham Brahmasmi. The conclusion of Rig Veda is Pragyanam Brahma. Aham Brahma means I am Brahma. The conclusion of the Rig Veda is Pragyanam Brahma. It means the awareness is Brahma. It means this very awareness is in us is Brahma. And then the other Veda says, I am Atma Brahma. This very self is Brahma. And the last one is Tattvamasi, means you are that. Okay. So this is like some kind of, conclusion through research. Okay. This form the teaching of Vedanta. Okay. And the other schools, the school of Tantra and the school of Yoga, they devise methodologies to arrive at this realization. Okay. So just now, when I explained about the constitution of jivas, so every jiva, so you have a body, you realize, you are aware of your body, you are aware of your mind, and especially the conscious mind. Conscious mind is the mind designed for survival. Okay, so basically to respond to the basic instinct of food, sleep, sex, and fear. And subconscious mind is a programmable mind. So today, when you are an engineer by training, so so you can also transform a tribal human being from Africa. Okay, if you bring him to this the other part of the world, you give him training, you also can transform him into an engineer, to a professor, anything. So this happens at the subconscious level. Okay. And when that memory becomes permanent, a more permanent memory, it goes to the unconscious. But unconscious doesn't stop there. It also has a deeper layer, which is closer to the Atman. Okay. But to simply say, you will not become Atman. You don't have to become Atman. Atman is always there. Okay. What you need to do to realize that you are Atman, you have to separate your consciousness. You have to split the mind from the soul. Okay, so this is one approach, but it's easier to be done in the yogic method, where they start to deal with the body. Okay,
Okay.
Okay? By understanding the mechanism of the body, okay, through the body, you transcend the body awareness, go to and transcend the conscious mind, transcend the subconscious mind, and unfold the unconscious. When you unfold the unconscious mind, you will begin to get glimpses of the Atman. Okay, this is the experience of all meditators who follow the correct methodology. Okay, you don't have to be a rishi from the past. Okay, when you can achieve that, I believe when you do regular meditation, you will begin to feel calmness by pacifying your own subconscious. That is the first success. Okay, so definitely through proper, we rather call this sadhana. Sadhana means sustained effort in the spiritual practice, in the yogic practice, and meditation is one aspect of it, the seventh aspect of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely, the process of meditation will give you the realization of the act.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Padma,
answer.
thanks.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. So any other questions? Let me see if there's any question raised in the...
Okay, if no one is asking, I will have. I'd like to ask another one, Padma.
Sure. Carry on.
Okay, you mentioned earlier that dreams are actually part of the process where you flush out the mind.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but sometimes we do have unexpected dreams where we dream like someone who is long lost or dead, and they come into our dream, and then we were not thinking of them, but they somehow manifested. I'm just using one example. Is it also part of my thought? Somehow I did think it out, and I just suppressed it, maybe.
Okay, it's an interesting question.
Okay.
Okay, see, there are two types of dream. Okay, just now in the lesson I mentioned about one type of dream, subconscious dream. There are also what you call unconscious dream. Okay. Okay. From the subconscious, okay, relating to your question, okay, from so whatever that you have seen and memorized can manifest as a dream, and this is subconscious dream. Okay, this is clear. And there are also dream which comes from unconscious. Okay, suppose you start to practice meditation regularly and begin to access your unconscious mind. Okay, this is an ability. When you gain that ability, you can also get unconscious dream. But even if someone who doesn't meditate, they will easily receive messages from unconscious 7 to 8 times, even as a premonition. So like somebody is very close to you, they might be sick, and suddenly you feel not one kind, and you feel like calling them. Or maybe you are very sad and you are in other part of the world, another country, and suddenly your mother call you. So this is the connection. We are connected with certain individuals more deeply, and that will carry the message to the unconscious. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, but okay. What do you call dreams about a person who's no longer living can happen due to subconscious memory. It can happen. Okay, the possibility is high. Okay, but it also can happen if they try to contact you. Okay, so, I mean, if your unconscious mind is more developed, you can actually perceive them while you are awake. Okay, so why we are not able to perceive it is because usually our conscious and subconscious mind very restless. When it is restless, you cannot receive the message directly. Okay, so it is a skill. Okay, by training you can develop that. So it's easier even for gurus, like many teachers, many your dead relatives, they always try to reach you through dreams. Okay, because it's easier.
Okay.
And the other thing which I would like to add, okay, when you're talking about dream, see, our body have this natural mechanism to flush out unwanted thought, which I mentioned earlier. And based on our lifestyle, okay, we're very busy nowadays, and a lot of information comes, through various media and all that. So a normal individual needs 6 to 7 hours of sleep, because we will easily have 5 to 6 hours of dream cycle. What is a dream cycle? So according to Himalayan Institute, headed by the late Swami Rama, okay, they have mentioned about this. They did a research on this. When we go to sleep, first our conscious mind will sleep and it will go to subconscious and you will begin to dream. And this dream is like flushing out. Then after you flush out the first layer, you will go into the unconscious. You will sleep in the unconscious. So how do you know that you have slept in the unconscious at that level? Sometimes you may get up at the middle of the night and think that you have slept for so long and you might be late for work, but it is only 3 o'clock. So because you have rested really deeply, only when you go to the unconscious, you get this kind of deep sleep. Okay. So a lot of people don't get proper sleep despite sleeping 6 to 7 hours because they don't really go to the unconscious. It is another important point. So the dream cycle, so from conscious, subconscious to unconscious, then one round of deep sleep and unconscious, and again the subconscious will pull you to project another round of dream projection. So you'll finish with that, again you'll go on to unconscious. So an ordinary human being needs about 6 to 7 hours of sleep because he needs about 5 hours, 5 cycle of dream cycle per night. Okay, that's why the 6 to 7 hours is important. And then when you don't get enough sleep hours, that's where your quality of life is affected. Okay, and someone who meditates, they can do this flushing more easily through the process of pratyahara.
Okay.
All right.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Welcome. And okay, now what is the time? We got another 7 minutes. Open. Okay, if there's no other question, then I still I will allow another 5 minutes. Okay, so if any one of you have any question, you can raise it. Okay.
No, since no one is asking, can I ask another, the third one?
Please.
Okay. Like we believe, or rather Hindus believe, and also part of this Gita is that we'll be born again and again, right? Rebirth, taking on a new form and based on karma and all that.
Okay.
Then we have ancestors of ours, our great grandparents and their grandparents, and then you can go on and on. And we also pray to our ancestors for guidance and all those things at certain times. But naturally, our great grandparents would have been reborn. And to what am I praying to? To what essence of them am I asking for this one guidance?
Okay, again, a very interesting question. See, one thing is the ancestors. I also did some research on this kind of afterlife thing.
Okay.
Yes, anybody who dies, not everybody will get rebirth immediately. Okay, it is subject to many things. Because for you to take birth, your parents, because it goes by this. We have what you call how to put it, like a program. Your karma is called samskara. Okay. Karma means, actually the correct term is samskara. Karma means a fresh action, new action. Each new action will have karma pala. Karma pala, when you group it, we call samskara. Collectively, it is samskara. The samskara, you have what I call a samskara bank. This is known as sanchita. Okay. Looking at everyone's sanchita, they will easily have 10 to 15 lives. Okay. And from the bank of sanchita, a portion of it will be taken out for a particular life. Suppose in this life, a person, let's call the person A. So A has a lifespan of 80. Based on his samskara, this is known as prarabdha. So this prarabdha, that means based on the prarabdha, he will receive a parent, okay, and how long the parents want to be with him is also dependent on that pattern, and his siblings, and whether he's going to marry somebody, going to have children, what kind of life, successful life, life full of challenges, so on, everything. Okay, until let's say 80. Yeah? So it's, at the moment the lifespan is over 80, the life force will be taken out, and this person again will be prepared to reborn. Okay, unless the person was on the journey to enlightenment and finish off all karmas. Okay, that is exception. So, and after finishing the prarabdha, it's not like immediately you will have readily another what I call life. Okay, it is subject to the next life, subject to many factors, and if the parents they are not born yet, so they have to wait longer. Okay, could be 1 year, could be 10 years, sometimes could be 500 years. Because it depends on your complexity of your samskara. Okay. And because some of them will stay longer in the astral field, okay, some of them, according to a paranormal investigator, so he said this various souls, and also the Shastra supports this. So those who are not very elevated, they can't do much. Okay. That means just like in this world, if you're not so educated, okay, you cannot get high paying job. Okay, you can't even write signboards. You can't even go to driving school, isn't it? There are a lot of limitation. So similarly, a soul which doesn't cultivate dharma, doesn't develop himself or herself spiritually, will be also like an illiterate being in the astral world. So they can't do much. They can't even if you try to contact them, they can't give you any guidance. Okay, so this one, one paranormal investigator called this souls in the Papaloka. Okay, means not that they're sinful. That means they are not so elevated. And souls who are more elevated, they'll be in Madhya Loka. Okay, so this group, they can somehow they have more awareness. They have more privilege to travel. They can come back home, see you, sometimes guide you through dreams and all that. Okay. Then the third one is the more elevated soul. They call it Punya Loka. So these are basically saints and more spiritually evolved ones. Okay, and they also can guide people. Now talking about whether we seeking guidance from the elders. Okay, actually this is not something which we need to do. Okay, if your what I call your dead relatives are more elevated, naturally they will come and guide you whenever there is a need. Okay. Okay. Suppose, but to answer your question, suppose if you try to connect to somebody, and that person already taken rebirth, okay?
Yes.
You can actually still connect to them if your connection cord is strong enough, because all memories is in their causal body. In fact, even if they are not aware, their causal body will respond to you.
Okay.
You see, everybody talks about soul. Okay? Soul is something much more higher. For example, suppose you see Buddha is no longer in this world today. Okay.
Yes.
But you can still access Buddha's causal body. Even if Buddha attained enlightenment or Mahaparinirvana, his causal body is still in this very world. It won't be destroyed. Any saint, any great being, their causal body will remain in this universe. That's how sometimes when some people they develop themselves, for example, a particular saint is already maybe reborn or already liberated, but they will say, I saw this particular saint, he came and talked to me. So what talked to him was actually the causal body of that saint. Okay? All the program, all the pattern is there.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the answer, Padma.
Okay, you're welcome. I think it's already 9 o'clock, and I think thanks for Brother Velu for asking some interesting questions. And if there's no other question, I would like to end the session. And those who have missed the previous lessons, you can always go to the YouTube. Check the video. Okay, and if you have, you can also. I think some of you are already in the group, and if you can also send the link about the group to what you call your friends, and they can also participate in this session. Okay, so thank you very much. Namaskar. Have a good day.